Dear Cheap Astronomy, what's all the current fuss about Venus? In June 2021, NASA announced 2 new Venus missions. Veritas, Venus Emissivity, Radioscience, INSAR Tomography and Spectroscopy, Veritas, which is expected to happen in 2028, and Da Vinci Plus, Deep Atmosphere Venus Investigation of Noble Gases, Chemistry and Imaging, Da Vinci Plus, which is expected to happen in 2029 or maybe 2030. There's also a recently confirmed European Space Agency mission called Envision, which is planned for the early 2030s. All the launch dates here are a bit speculative, as at this point, none of these spacecraft have been built yet. Da Vinci Plus includes an orbiter and a lander that will bring back direct images from the surface, which we haven't seen since the Soviet Venera 13 lander took some snaps back in 1981. And like all the Soviet landers, it's not expected the Da Vinci Plus lander will last more than about 20 minutes under the grueling surface conditions of Venus, but that's long enough to get some good shots in. And apart from that headline-grabbing stuff, the primary science goals of Da Vinci Plus are actually to investigate Venus's atmosphere. The lander will analyse the atmosphere on its way down to the surface, while the orbiter scans the atmosphere from above. Veritas, although also an orbiter, will mostly investigate Venus's geology, using radar and infrared emission detectors to map the surface. This global mapping will be an update and enhancement to the radar mapping the Magellan mission undertook between 1989 and 1994. It's expected that Veritas will enhance our understanding of volcanology and other geological processes on Venus, as well as looking for evidence of past water on the planet, and maybe it will even find traces of current water in vapour form. These objectives seem optimistic if current thinking that the planet is regularly resurfaced by molten volcanic outputs is true, but properly investigating such possibilities can't hurt. The mission will also try to confirm whether or not Venus has plate tectonics. The mission may just confirm that Venus doesn't have plate tectonics, but there's no harm looking, and either way, the investigation may help us understand how and why plate tectonics works on Earth. Since the only other rocky planets we know much about are Earth and Mars is pretty much geologically inactive, Venus is a pretty good place to look for new insights into how planets work. And why the sudden flurry of Venus missions? Well, no one's saying it's because of the recent announcement of phosphine in Venus's atmosphere, perhaps because this finding remains hotly disputed, as does the suggestion that any phosphine that is there may be a product of Venusian life. There is a real risk that this whole line of thinking could collapse well before the mission's launch, so it makes sense not to announce it as a key goal of the mission. Nonetheless, it is likely that NASA and ESA will gather more data on the presence of phosphine in the atmosphere and its possible origins. Other reasons why it's worth studying Venus include a growing interest in better understanding its extreme greenhouse atmosphere, since we are in the process of growing our own one on a smaller scale here on Earth. And who knows, we may well find some other weird thing that no one was expecting to find, which is what exploration is all about. And it's not like these new Venus missions suddenly popped out of nowhere. They have actually been in the pipeline for years. For example, there had been a Da Vinci mission idea hanging around for years, which then got revised and enhanced into Da Vinci Plus, which then kind of hung around for a few more years. At any point, there is quite a long queue of possible mission projects, where only 1 or 2 generally get funding committed from each budget cycle. So it might be the case that the phosphine thing pushed these planned missions up the queue a bit, or it may just be that their time had come. In NASA's case, it has been hitting Mars pretty hard, leaving Venus to be explored by other agencies like ESA and also JAXA. But with lots of countries now having Mars orbiters, and with China now also having a rover on the surface, maybe NASA was also thinking it's time to do something a bit different.